Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I need a table and a bench, so we're gonna make one. Simple as that. To be more specific, an outdoor table and bench. I got a pond I can fish at. It's a nice little hangout area out here, but we don't have a table to sit at. All right, that was easy. All right, moving on to the bench. The bench is gonna be similar design. I'm joking. So yeah, I clearly already made the table. So this was sort of a private project. Like I just wanted to build something that I didn't have to really record. This is my second woodworking project I've ever done, besides of course my workbench, which is my first woodworking video. And I gotta say, this turned out pretty darn good if you ask me. But yeah, I went to Lowe's and I bought treated lumber. These are 2x8 deck boards, what you'd use for a deck. I know that deck looks horrible. No, I'm not redoing it because we are renting this place. But yeah, these are 2x8 deck boards, and this is of course 4x4s, and these are just 2x4s. Prepare yourself, the bottom is not finished, but maybe I should finish it. But yeah, this is the apron setup I have. Got some corner pieces over here. But essentially, this is a pretty easy table to make. Well, to some people, I guess. To an average woodworker, and this thing weighs a freaking ton. And it may look like it would be somewhat wobbly, but this is actually a really sturdy table. But yeah, as I was saying, I used treated lumber, which be careful, has lots of chemicals in it, and I luckily made it mostly outside with lots of ventilation, of course. But when it came to sanding, I'm glad I remembered to wear a full face mask because treated lumber has a lot of chemicals in it. Stuff that can kill you quickly if you're not careful. But yes, I wasn't going to keep it its natural color, so I experimented with some stains. At first, I started off with summer oak, and this ended up being a pretty light orange color. I didn't want to go for orange, so I went back to the store. This looked a little darker. I thought going over a light with another light would make it a little darker. No, this made it extremely orange. I'll post a picture now. At that point, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to sand this whole table and restart. But I then went back to the store and I bought some espresso. Now this stuff is really dark, but I went over these two with that, no sanding, and that was the final result you saw out there. And then of course, after all that dried, I went over with some spar urethane, a couple coats. But yeah, that is how I got this magnificent color. So today we're building the bench for it. I just want one bench. I thought about having two, but I'm just gonna have one that can slide out. And I've gotta try to match this color. So we're gonna go ahead and build it. I'm hoping I can skip the first stain, just do the second stain, the golden one, and then the espresso. Hopefully it will give this same look, we'll see. All I'm worried about right now though is building the bench, so let's get started. Okay, so I actually built my table on my new workbench. I just rolled it out here because I installed some wheels on my workbench, which was a great idea in my opinion. But as you can see, I got a bunch of junk on it. Not junk, but I mean, we have no storage solution in here yet. And I don't know if I want to get all of this off of it right now. I mean, I was thinking I could roll this around in my backyard and do some cutting. Now I used this to make this workbench and the table out back. But my grandpa just gifted me something because he's not using it anymore. And that is this portable table saw. And a Craftsman. This is amazing. I'm going to get this set up outside and use this today. You'll probably hear children playing in the background. Hope you don't mind. But we have some decisions to make here. How long I want it to be and how high I want it to sit. So I made this table a little larger than average tables, just like my workbench. Since I'm a 6'4" guy, I want to be able to walk up to this comfortably stand and use it and also sit and use it. So I'm gonna have to make a bench that sits a little higher, but also make sure it's comfortable for people that are shorter than me, of course. Also got to decide what length. I'm obviously not gonna make it where it just barely squeezes in. Probably about 5 inches off on each side. I got a feeling this might not be enough. No, I don't really want to flip it around to try to get the cut just perfect on whatever it misses, so I'll just bring out the handsaw for this big boy. All right, I decided on 4 feet. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so I cut it at 4 feet. This is going to be the bench for this. It's just crazy to think that this started off as that color. I think staining and like protecting wood is like what excites me most. The amount of customization you can do is just phenomenal. But yeah, here's my original plans here for the table. Here's all the sizing in case you were interested. But for the bench, now I got to decide how high it sits. This is going to be very important. I think I'm going to go find something in my house. That'll be a rough estimate to feel the most comfortable. So this should be interesting. Wow, I didn't expect that. This goes in our dining table, and our dining table sits high at 3 feet. I just don't know if that'll be too tall because of the apron under here, but it fits so comfortably. This is cushioned though, so that's different. I don't know how hard wood would be, but this seems a little high, but I think I'm just gonna take a couple inches off of this height, and that's what I'm gonna go for. All right, I'm gonna go for 22 inches high. This is about 23, 22 lands around here. Since the boards are 1.5 inches thick, we're just gonna go for 20.5 inches. Time to try this thing out. I like this thing. All right, that is it for the cutting. Pretty much the same design as that, but obviously shrunken down. I guess all that's left is putting it all together and then staining it and then applying the finish. Snack break with some lemonade and Amish pumpkin bread. Oh man. I know it's probably a bad idea using a wired drill. Trust me, I know. I've already stripped multiple bits. But I honestly wanted something with a lot of power. And they're cheaper than, you know, battery drills. All right, the bottom part or the frame is all finished up here. Seems pretty stable. Now I just got to screw on the tops like this. But I'm kind of curious. Is that too tall? Ooh, that's perfect for me at least. I'm sitting flat-footed. Oh yeah. It's finished, almost. Now I'll admit, it's not absolutely perfect. Some right angles are off by the slightest degree. Even right here, kind of slightly bothers me. That's like an 1/8 of an inch up, but honestly, when I sit on it, don't even feel it. But I couldn't be happier with this. The next step is to sand it all down, you know, get all the corners rounded off like I did here. Remember to wear your respirator because this is some toxic stuff. The thing is, you can use normal wood to make this, but since this is an outdoor set, this will help it last longer in the elements and prevent oh my God, this is heavy. Prevent bugs from, you know, drilling into it. Just like this. I have a stack of wood over there and they have been destroying this wood. I might break my back lifting up this thing. Oh my God. Moment of truth. Yeah. And then when I'm not using it, I'll break my back pushing it in and out from under it. All right, I'll see you in a split second, but it's gonna be another day for me. I'm gonna sand it down and get it stained. All right, I'm done sanding it. I didn't want to film much of it because I just wanted to get it over with. I hate sanding this pressure treated wood. I don't hate sanding. I hate sanding this pressure treated wood because I'm a bit of a hypochondriac. I'm hoping the filter I had on that gas mask was good enough. But you can see like the buildup of all the fine particles in the gas mask filter. And it's like, if you inhale all of that, man, you're shortening your life like tremendously. But anyway, all that's left is just throwing a stain on and getting the seal on it. Let's hope I can do the staining correctly. All right, I've got the summer oak stain on. As you can see, it's wildly different than that. Pretty close to the image I showed earlier, not as orange, but I'm hoping skipping the first stain will result in the same color as this. So I'm just gonna let this dry. And then I go get the espresso stain and then I stain it on there. And then we apply spar urethane. So I'll see you tomorrow. Gotta admit, this one's going on pretty dark, but I think the spar urethane will lighten it up a little bit. Hope so. Okay. It is the next day once again. Still pretty dark. But you know what? I don't hate it. But like I said, I think applying the semi-gloss spar urethane will lighten it up a little bit. I'm probably gonna do like 2 coats for now. So we gotta apply the first coat, let it dry for a few hours. Then we gotta sand that down a little bit and then apply a second coat. I've only done 2 coats on this. I probably honestly need 3 coats, which I'll probably apply another one to this. But just for this video, I'm going to do 2 on this one. So I guess we'll get started. Okay, it's a few days later and I am pretty satisfied with how it turned out. You saw me applying one of the coats. I then the next day sanded it down a little bit, which you got to be careful about that. I use 220 grit, but if you get too close to the edges, you could sand it down too much and get down to the natural wood color. And then I had to go back, apply the stain again, wait for that to dry. So just try to sand the top, the part that you'll be touching the most. And then the next day I applied the next coat of spar urethane all over it. Just like I did this one. This is 2 coats. Now they do recommend 3 coats, which I might do again, but spar urethane isn't cheap, so I ran out. But yeah, as you can see, it turned out much darker than the table, but that's because of course I skipped a few steps. I cut some corners, but you know what? I don't hate it. They both obviously look like they go together and I'm satisfied. Now I can sit here and do my, start doing some more reviews on the table. Such as this bag, for example. This is a nutsack sling bag. Absolutely love this thing. Going to be doing a review on this. Now I'm probably going to get to some fishing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something from it, and I hope I inspired you to maybe build something yourself, because this is actually easier than you think. But yeah, that's just going to be about it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.